Hi, Honest Discussioner here. Today's video is going to be about, well, basically my deconversion story, or at least a story of my experience with religion and spirituality. This is later going to be called Bourbon Musings Episode 3, and I just wanted to not feature the bourbon so much in that, but it'll be later be called that, because when I do my more musing videos, my more introspective videos, it's much better with bourbon, I feel. Now, I just ordered these glasses. I used to have these. I got them for my birthday a while back, and they disappeared one at a time. These are the Bourbon double wall thermo glasses. Oh yeah. Take a look. The real glass is actually on the inside, and this way I can actually put ice in this, and the heat from my hand won't warm up the glass and melt the ice. And I've been saving my best bourbon. I haven't been finishing it, just so I can get this glass, because I have missed it. It has not been the same. And again, I don't do this to get drunk. I do it for the flavor. And Blanton's, again, has the best flavor. So anyway, let's start. If you watched my philosophical proofs, the first video, you'll probably notice that it starts off with, I was brought up a hardcore Christian. And, well, that's not entirely true. I started my religious experience in a Orthodox church. And if you don't know anything about Orthodoxy, it's kind of like Catholic minus confession. It's very, very ritualistic, very much into, you know, the priests wear all their very priestly robes. There's incense and all of that. Really, it's, as far as the service goes, it's Catholicism minus, well, the confession. Very solemn. Nobody talks during the service except for the priest and maybe some of the people that are singing. Now, my mom got married to a evangelical around the time I was turning 5. And we went to a Pentecostal church from that point on. Night and day, I can tell you that. The Orthodoxy church was more of a celebration of culture rather than God, it seemed. Or at least it centered, the culture was centered around God, but it was still, the focus was more the culture. This was God Fest 24/7. And I remember, I mean, in the Orthodox church, you've got the, you know, everyone's kind of quiet. You've got the priest speaking in another language. Oh, I miss that. The bourbon, not the religion. And when you were doing that, when you're in the Pentecostal church, there's singing and there's dancing and there's people holding their hands and speaking in tongues and mostly gibberish, really, but yeah, they think they're speaking in tongues, and a very thoughtful, thought-provoking sermon by the pastor, and everyone's all lovey-dovey, and, you know, it's a completely different experience. My stepfather is probably the most religious person I know personally. And, well, I should say ex-stepfather, really. Yeah. Now, when I was in 4th grade, he told me that that when I was ready, I should become a born-again Christian. I will be born again of the Spirit. And he asked me to think about it and tell me when I was ready. So I stood there for about 5 seconds, and I said, okay, sure, why not? I was in 4th grade. I didn't really know any better or anything. So he did the ceremony, and, you know, he asked me if I'm going to give my life over to the Holy Spirit. And I have to admit, I actually did feel something. It was quite interesting. I felt a kind of, I don't want to even say calm. I felt like sleepy, only I didn't want to go to sleep when this happened. And it did feel, I did feel very calm. Maybe even it was at peace. And although then my younger brother was starting to cry, and I felt I had this great connection to God, and I put my hand on his head, and I prayed to God to help him, to ease him, and to make him stop crying for my mother's sake. I didn't say that I could do it. I prayed and I asked God to do this for him. I laid my hands on him. And he kept crying for a very long time. Didn't really think much about it. And I got deeper into the whole Pentecostal thing. Besides that, I never felt anything else while I was at church. Didn't really even think about it, the fact that I didn't. The closest I ever got was to putting my hands up, but I kind of was just going like this, and it looked really stupid, and some of the other kids were making fun of me, who they weren't religious at all. But still, it wasn't, I felt a little weird, not because I was putting my hands up, because I really wasn't doing it, I really wasn't into it, I didn't feel anything. And my stepfather did say that one day I would learn to speak in tongues, and he was right. He said just one day it's going to come to me, and it did, and I could speak in tongues. Of course, I was still about 10 at the time, and all I could say was sakalakama, sakalakami, sakalakamikima, and I just kept repeating that, and I thought I was speaking in tongues. Again, I was very young. And that continued for a while, and I got less and less enthusiastic, I guess, about it, and I started questioning